Alright, I'm sort of back. I've been out sick for a good week between flu and allergies, I don't know, but yeah, here we go. Part 2, we got the eclipse. Oh my goodness, my goodness, Berserk. Just Berserk in general. Love this series so much. And the eclipse is the perfect example of like cosmic horror, brutality, and the buildup of everything that we've been leading up to so far. And it did it meet expectations? Because I had no idea what to expect going into the eclipse. No idea how it was going to be triggered, what it was going to be. And I think it did. I think it hit its points. It wasn't maybe it wasn't surprising because we knew that Griffith would become the big bad. And I almost expected some other last-minute twist, because I think that's a thriller fan of me, but the horror, oh my god, the horror was perfect. Perfectly executed. So happy, so happy. So the chapter starts off with actually Zodd and the Skull Man having a conversation, and... Okay, Rickert is there, shocked to see Zodd, and what is it they talk about? The Guardians of the Gate or something. So Zodd's like, so you did come, you who've been our foe for millennium. I figured you wouldn't let this chance slip by. And the Skull Knight guy is like, and you were given command to guard the gate, Immortal One. Then Zodd's just like, hardly, I have no interest in their indulgent spree. What I seek are the strong. You should know that old rival. And Skull King saying, Void would say that this too lies within Casualty's current. Very well, I wager myself upon my sword. And then they're fighting. So they've been fighting for millennia and they're old rivals. And I really want to see more about those two. I'll talk more about it at the end, but the parallels that we have between Guts and Griffith with them, maybe. But then we go into the hell world to see the Band of the Hawk being systematically slaughtered as they're in hell. And this is the feast for all the demons to just devour and have a spree. In celebration, I guess, of Griffith joining the God Hand. Casca is trying to hold it together, maintain formation and ranks just to try to survive this, but it is not working. Pippin sacrifices himself to protect her and save her, and Judeau takes her and runs. She is begging Judeau to turn back. We can't leave him. We have to stay and fight, and he's talking about how there is no fight, only to run. And as if I didn't need enough reasons to not trust Judeau, again, he says, we have to struggle. That's what he would say. It's the only way to survive. Like, keep going. Don't just lay down and die. Only, like, someone who struggles through this can escape, can survive. That's the only chance we have. And I can't even, because, like, clearly, everyone's telling me, like, he's been told all these stories, and that's how he knows so much about the history, the world, and specifically the eclipse and the old history with the Skull King and the angels who came down and slaughtered everybody. And now he knows about this prophecy of the struggler. I feel like there should be more to him, and the ending for his story is absolutely heartbreaking because I feel like it's incomplete. I feel like there should be more. Again, part of some old cult that was either trying to start the eclipse or stop the eclipse, and he's heard these stories and knew the possibility way to survive. I almost expected him to be the one to trigger the eclipse and get everyone into this mess, and then Griffith takes the blame for it, but no, he is the sweetest boy, and he is trying to save Casca. He is taking the hits for her. He's buying her time. He's giving her openings to take down other demons. He's sacrificing his own body to protect her because she is the leader of what remains of the Hawk, and if she survives, they have not failed, and he has to protect her. Corcus is, of course, taken in by a succubus-looking illusion, and he ends up falling, and that really actually hit me. I'm like, oh, I figured the little weasel guy might be able to find a way out of this one, but no, we see him fall, along with everyone else. Judeau gets his arm, like, degloved, basically, the entire thing by one of the demons, uses his last dagger to protect Casca, and she is begging him, like, stay with me, I'm not letting you lay down. You said we have to keep going, so let's keep going. And the imagery, as we see from Judeau's, like, first-person point of view, is his eyes closing, and it falling in on the frame, and just looking at her, and he's saying, like, thinking how smooth he used to be and talk, and he can't be that kind of way around her. He actually loves her and wanted her happy and alive, and we see him die? Are you kidding me? You made me spend like half the series thinking he's up to something. And no, he's just a hawk through and through. He wants to protect Casca, and he's just a sweet, smart boy. And then he dies on me. I was shocked. I was not expecting him to go down like that at all. And then, of course, the demons come after Casca. Her armor is completely ripped off. We get more threats of, actually, I think, actual sexual assault. And it's just unnecessary. And again, a couple of comments have saying that the creators mentioned, like, yeah, I was young when I made this series. I wish I didn't overuse sexual assault in the manners that I did all the time. And I'm like, it's just a little too much. Sometimes, though, I can understand why it's happening. Then we have Griffith fighting with, like, such ferocity that even the God's hands people are just, like, impressed by how violent he is and saying that his sacrifice, his death will make a good sacrifice for Griffith as he's reborn. And we get Griffith's point of view, and I love it. I love it so much. Okay, so we're back to, like, all the dark black imagery, and it's just, like, I'm sinking. Further from the light, where is this? Where's my body? And again, just getting darker and darker, like you're falling. I'm sinking deep. And then you see everyone dying and the torture, and he's like, what is this? It's like making up who he is now. And all this madness going into his mind as all his loved ones are being, like, eaten, and his eyes have completely gone mad. And it's all this death is making up his new body. He said, all their deaths are piercing through me. I wished for it. I killed them. It's strange. I don't feel anything. I'm sinking. He's losing his humanity. It's so well illustrated. What's this? The crystallization of your last shed tear. When suffering so profound as to make someone rip himself apart is confronted. A heart is frozen. Something's there. And it's just this whirlpool. Darkness, like we're falling in the water. Then you see a bunch of little behemoths coming up. They are splashes, droplets of ideas that have spilled from the sea into eternity. Summons to the other world. God. And then it's just like a monstrous kind of imagery again. And I think then we're back to the Hellionscape. Yup, Griffith is just slaughtering demons left, right, and center. And then he comes across the remains of the Band of the Hawk, which is essentially their bodies. They're torn corpses. The one who just wanted to open a nice little clothing shop and survive this and came back when the group was in trouble. His head destroyed, explodes from the inside out. I did like the fact that the demon that burst from his skull looked like a hagfish kind of thing. That was a weird imagery. There's a creature, not quite the eagle thing, but Pipit's back is torn apart. He's being marionetted or worn by another demon. At first you think he's okay and he's just standing tall and proud and died strong in death. Nope, then he's cut in half. And Guts again is just watching everybody fall. And Casca is being tortured and sexually assaulted by the other demons around. And Guts is just going mad. And then you see Griffith emerge, and it really is like a dark phoenix. So where before he was going to be the white phoenix, now we have like the dark phoenix. The imagery, he's no longer himself, and he does something absolutely terrible that he needs to die painfully and violently for, because Griffith is gone, and this demon king thing that is here, yeah, we don't like him anymore. All right, I'm trying to figure out a way to phrase this without the YouTube censors getting mad at me, and really you can't. So, Griffith, now Femto, or however you were pronouncing that, assaults Casca for the next 22 pages. A full chapter that is nothing but sexual assault. And that's a little much, in my opinion. I can sort of see why we're doing this as, we're breaking guts, which is the minimal thing that I don't like about this. But you also get a comparison for how he treated Casca when they were first together. There was love, there was intimacy, there was caring for each other and healing from each other's trauma or or kind of trying to move on from each other's trauma and helping each other, and they have hurt each other, but they still love each other. Whereas Griffith, when it comes to assaulting somebody, this is just about power and control, taking control over somebody else and having power over them, and that is completely all this is. There is no emotion, there's no care. It is just violent and brutal, and he's doing it because he can, because he feels it is his right to do whatever he wants to those he commands and controls, to those he owns. There is no love there. So the difference between the two relationships, it does point that out, but at the same time, 22 pages of it. Are you kidding me? A little much. Guts, in his anger, rage, brutality, cuts off his own arm trying to get to Casca, trying to help, but he's still just held down and forced to watch. She's saying, just don't look, stop. And it continues on, and that's terrible. But then the Skull Knight guy bursts through, shatters the dimension, is able to get in, and thankfully, Void, which is like the Mars Attacks meets Hellraiser alien, has some kind of dimension shift thing going on, so the attack doesn't actually hit him. But the Skull Knight guy is able to get Casca and Guts out of Hell Dimension, so they have struggled so long that they are now through to the other side. And when we get out, we still got the tornado going around, and Zodd is there, and he's also missing an arm. And this is what I'm wondering. Is the Skull Knight and Zodd supposed to parallel in any way Griffith and Guts? Like a rivalry, a feud, a history between them? Because if so, like, I would think Guts would be Zodd, the powerful, this is the one I'm meant to defeat, unless meant to defeat is supposed to be Griffith. So Zodd should represent Griffith, this ultimate strong figure you must overcome, you must defeat the strong warrior. But then why did Zodd also lose an arm? Because then it parallels Guts. But then Zodd's able to put his arm back on, no problem. I'm wondering where the parallels for which one kind of goes. Because I guess Skull Knight's also a little bit more elegant, so that would be more Griffith than Guts, but maybe they're a bit of both. They are each other. I don't know. I'm kind of interested in their rivalry relationship, the Skull Knight and Zodd, because they said they've been rivals for millennia. And if now Guts and Griffith are going to be like the new versions of them, constantly in a state of war, constantly hunting the other. And I am interested in which one is which. I also liked when the Skull Knight came in and they said, so the other members of the God's Hand are like, oh, fascinating. How'd you get in here? An unpredictable thing happens at the temporal nexus, albeit an extremely minute thing. It's impossible to anticipate everything. We ourselves are not gods after all. Or else this too was fated to happen. Either way, the leaping of one fish would never disturb the flow of the river. And time again begins to flow, for the fifth angel has been born. The time of darkness descends, wickedness, sacrifice, illusion, reality, hatred, love, hostility, hope, the dead, the living. An age when every darkness shall eclipse light, yes, as when the moon covers the light of the sun. I suppose that's what people will call it afterwards, the age of darkness. I like how the demons talk, okay? There's weight to their words. Sometimes when I'm reading a story, the conversations between like immortal beings just feel so casual. Like I don't feel the weight of the words and what they're saying. And something about the way the words chosen, the way they talk, just feels right for an immortal demon looking thing. And I really, really like that. I also like the idea that of causality and fate. In their opinion, everything this is how it was designed. There's a God, I assume, that this is what they intended to happen. And while these demons can understand and predict some of it, there's always something that they don't know, as they are not God. And but nothing that we do will change the course of what is destined to happen. This was fated. This was destined. It's how it's always meant to be. And I like the idea of them manipulating events to put Griffith on this path to lead to the precise set of circumstances and situations that led him to become one of them. But the choice was sort of his, and he had to be the one to sacrifice it. But they have closed off all other paths to him. So maybe there was a situation where he could have achieved his dreams with the Band of the Hawk, but all other roads had been closed because of possibly their meddling, possibly fate, possibly something, until the only road left to achieve his dream was with the Behelit, with the God's Hand, becoming what he is now and sacrificing his humanity and everyone he made along the way. This was his fate and destiny, and there was no pushing against it. And now you have Guts, who's meant to be sacrificed, but he is struggling, he is fighting against his fate to choose his own path, to forge his own way, to take revenge, to do something. I like that idea of destiny and what is fated and how much of it you can influence and control and break away. So I really, really like those ideas and themes coming through. So now we're outside. Zodd is putting himself together. I think they have a stalemate and he ends up flying off, or they go continue their fight. Something like that. Doesn't really matter. Because Skull Knight looks to, not Rickert, and it's just like, these two are not fated to die yet. Heal them. And he's just like, how do I do that? Oh, I have fairy dust. Right, oh, this is amazing. They're healing up already. So he's taking care of them. Skull Knight deals with Zodd temporarily. They end up putting their fight on hold, as probably partly because, hey, if you kill Guts now, he's not going to make a good fight, but if you let him live, he'll be a good opponent for you in the future. That's a good idea. I want a strong opponent, so I'll let him live. And then Skull Knight takes all three of them away to safety. Thank God. They're fine. Well, they're not fine. They're mentally traumatized, and they're never going to be fine again. But then we end up back in the mountains, where we've heard stories about the elves in these mines. So we're always coming back and forth to the little elf fairy guy. So Puck being the one whose fairy dust is the one to heal him, most likely in the past with Judeau. Sweet boy. Still can't believe I didn't trust him. Still don't trust him at all. I feel like I need more for his history. And now he's the one who has the fairy dust that saved him again, and we'll meet him in the future. We're in the mines, which is possibly his home. We get the little girl who was helping Guts train with the waterfall showing up, and her and Rickert have been taking care of Guts and Casca, who've been unconscious all this time for a couple days. Guts wakes up, traumatized. Casca's in the water. She has repressed everything. Her mind is just shattered. She's a shell of who she used to be. And I hate that for her character. I don't like that everything's happened now. She's no longer the warrior she once was. But a lot has happened, so fair. I would also curl up into a ball and probably die and have a mental breakdown. I can only assume eventually we'll get back to who she was before. I'm happy she's alive because she has the mark of sacrifice on her as well. And I don't remember her from the Black Swordsman arc, which means I don't know if she's dead or alive, if the sacrifice played through, if Guts is still trying to keep her safe, if she's in hiding. Have people come after her, because they're going to be after her like they are Guts, and that mark's going to call to the demons, and I need her to be okay. She doesn't want anyone touching her, rightfully so. Even Guts, the only one she trusts is the little girl. So Guts makes a run for it, trying to get away. Rickert had said, like, hey, we were told you can't go outside, don't go outside. But Guts takes off running, and we get, like, 7 pages of flashbacks with all the Band of the Hawks, everyone we've lost, and it's so sad. It is, because Guts has once again lost everything and everyone he loves, and, oh, he's having a full-on breakdown in a field when Skull Knight returns. How did we get here? There's demon eyes in the darkness. His neck, the cursed sacrifice mark is burning and bleeding, and Skull Knight appears and is like, this is your world now, like the world of darkness, the world of demons. And that's where that chapter ends. And now that I have recovered enough from my flu and I'm no longer dying on the couch for a week, I get to continue. This story is incredible. That's all I got. Just, this story is incredible. Talk to you later. Hopefully I've recovered enough from my flu to actually continue. All right, bye.